What's going on, folks? Today's review will be the 2004 to 2009 Cartoon Network series, and that is Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Imagine having an imaginary friend like what Mac does. Has an imaginary friend named Blue, who's Lil Bob from DreamWorks' Monsters vs. Aliens. Although Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends came first, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends is originally aired on Cartoon Network, Boomerang, currently streaming on Max, originally known as HBO Max, Amazon Prime Video, Google Play Store, YouTube, Sling TV, DirecTV, Spectrum On Demand, and Hulu, and its beta on Disney+. The series is set in a universe in which childhood imaginary friends take physical form and become real as soon as children imagine them. Once children outgrow them, friends are relocated to the titular orphanage, where they stay until other children adopt them. The home is run by the elderly Madam Foster, its lovable, kind founder, her rabid imaginary friend Mr. Harriman, the strict rule-abider and business manager, and her granddaughter Frankie, who handles day-to-day operations. Because his mother believes he is too old for imaginary friends, 8-year-old Mac is pressured by her to abandon his imaginary friend, Blue. When Mac takes Blue to Foster's after seeing a television advertisement, they discover that if Blue were to live there, he would be available to be adopted by another child. Mac then bargains with Frankie, Harriman, and Madam Foster until they agree to guard Blue from adoption so long as Mac continues to visit the center daily. Mac continues to visit the home every day after school to experience the escapades of the mischievous Blue and the array of eccentric, colorful characters inhabiting Foster's and the obstacles with which they are challenged. The writing for this show is pretty solid for the most part, and the episodes do have some pretty decent pacing. It can be pretty heartfelt as well as really funny. It has some solid life lessons, and it has a very unique and creative concept to which the show takes full advantage of. However, the writing doesn't always land, which does result in some bad episodes. And with the writing, this does affect the episode, as while there are some great ones like House of Blues, Busted, Dinner is Swerved, Worldwide Wobbit, Seeing Red, Blue Ooh, Partying is Such Sweet Soiree, Sight for Sore Eyes, Blues Brothers, Cookie Dough, Frankie My Dear, Mac Daddy, The Sweet Stench of Success, Blue Done It, Can't Keep a Good Mac Down, Crime After Crime, A Lost Clause, One False Movie, Setting a Precedent, Challenge of the Super Friends, The Big Picture, Squeeze the Day, Bust the Two of Us, Make Believe It or Not, Good Will Hunting, The Box Swaps Here, The Blue Super Dude and the Magic Potato of Power, Nightmare on Wilson Way, Pranks for Nothing, Goodbye to Blue, and Destination, Imagination. There are also some bad episodes like Everyone Knows It Spendy, Imposter's Home for Make 'Em Up Pals, Beat with a Shtick, Bye Bye Nerdy, Duchess of Wales, Foster's Goes to Europe, I Only Have Surprise for You, The Big Cheese, Cheese a Go Go, and Blue Tube. The show does manage to have some good heart to it when it's not fumbled, like the relationship between Mac and Blue, the friendships they have with the other characters, and the solid life lessons the show provides. There's also some pretty solid humor in the show, as there are some pretty funny moments throughout the entire run, like the witty banter and dialogue between the characters, the humorous situations and shenanigans they get themselves into, the references, some of the adult jokes and innuendos, the dark humor, the gags and slapstick, and some of the quips and remarks. The animation is pretty solid for this series and does have a nice look to it. The characters and various imaginary friends all have very neat designs and some decently fluid movements. The backgrounds are pretty serviceable, and there are some pretty solid effects. The characters are all pretty likable and funny, and they do have some solid chemistry. Mac is pretty likable character, as he's pretty much the straight guy to all the wackiness going on, and he does have a good heart and always tries his best to do the right thing. Blue is somewhat likable, as even though he can be a chaotic, whiny, and self-centered dickhead, he is a good friend to Mac and the other friends of the house, and during the times where he does act like a dick, he does get what's coming to him. Wilt is another pretty likable character, as he is very nice and thoughtful, and is always willing to help anyone whenever he can, but he does have his limits, and sometimes can indulge in some of the chaos. Eduardo is another very likable character, as despite his beastly appearance, He's very friendly and timid, and he would usually never hurt a fly, but like Wilt, he does have his limits and does sometimes go beast mode. Coco is another decent character, as even though all she can say is her name, she can be easy to understand depending on whatever mood she's in, and she can also be pretty friendly and helpful, especially when it comes to her laying her plastic surprise eggs. Frankie might be the most relatable character in the show, as while she does love the friends of the house and does want to take care of them, she is very overworked and put under pressure from Harriman's uptight nature and rules, and just wants to let loose. And while she can lose her temper, she's usually very friendly and nice. Madam Foster is another solid character, as while she is just a little old lady who does care for the well-being of all the friends, she can also be very unhinged, wacky, and snarky. Mr. Harriman, despite his uptight and out-of-touch nature, is also a likable character, as he has all of his rules so the house can be put in order, and like Frankie and his creator Madam Foster, he does really care for the well-being of the friends, but he does have some moments where he's willing to make a compromise. The rest of the characters in the show are okay, but there are some that can be pretty unlikable. The ones that are on the likable side are the eccentric and energetic Goo, the kind but mysterious Uncle Pockets, the wacky yet very dim-witted Cheese, and the not very talkative Jackie Cones, while those on the unlikable side, though probably intentional as they are meant to be villains and agonists, are Mac's jerky older brother Terrence, the spoiled rotten Duchess, and the crazy and obsessed Barry. The voice acting is really solid, and the voice actors all deliver some great performances, like Sean Marquette as Mac, Keith Ferguson as Blue, Phil Lolmar as Wilt, Tom Kenny as Eduardo, Candy Milo as Coco and Madam Foster, Greta Lyle as Frankie, Tom Kane as Harriman, and many more. James L. Venable does manage to provide a pretty solid musical score, and it does manage to capture the show's imaginative and comedic tone. Speaking about their movie, we have this special direct-to-video movie from Warner Bros. Home Entertainment and Cartoon Network Studios, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Destination, Imagination in 2004. And speaking about its video games, they have their own video games. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends video game in 2006 for the Game Boy Advance, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Imagination Invaders in 2007 for the Nintendo DS. And speaking about their appearance in other games, the characters from the show made it to appear in Cartoon Network, Punch Time Explosion. Mac and Blue made it to be playable characters in Cartoon Network, Punch Time Explosion. And what is my verdict on this show? 9 out of 10. Sometimes this show has not good episodes that I mentioned, but still pretty great show from Cartoon Network. Well, that's all folks, thanks for watching this review, and I'll see you next time. Arrivederci.